What the writers are doing with Jason Morgan and his son is downright explosive. If you thought the recent casting shakeup was wild, just wait until you hear this insider leak. We are looking at a storyline that is going to completely shatter the dynamic of the Morgan family. I have been poring over these confidential breakdown sheets for hours, and let me tell you, the network is pulling out all the stops. They are taking Jason down a path we never thought we would see, and it involves a devastating reality check regarding his own flesh and blood. This isn't just a rumor, this is a confirmed, behind the scenes narrative shift that is going to have every single fan screaming at their television screens by the end of the month. Prepare yourselves because the golden boy of the mob is about to face his absolute worst nightmare, and it is coming from inside his own house. If you ask me, we all knew Jason Morgan's return to Port Charles was going to be complicated. We all assumed the upcoming episodes would focus heavily on his trauma, his time in captivity, and how he has changed after being away from the people he loves for so long. But according to my most reliable insider leak, the writers are completely pivoting. The real story isn't about where Jason has been, it is about what has been happening to his son while he was gone. Jason is about to discover that Danny Morgan is drowning in a sea of trouble, and it is going to shake our favorite enforcer to his absolute core. Let us look at the facts that have been building up right in front of our eyes. Danny has not been acting like a normal teenager. We recently saw him orchestrating a daring rescue to save his little sister, Scout, from Drew Kane's captivity. And if that wasn't enough, my sources tell me that Danny has been teaming up with Charlotte Cassadine, getting deeply involved in a highly concerning and dangerous plot against Ross Cullum. Danny is out there playing the hero, playing the protector, and putting himself directly in the line of fire. When Jason gets wind of this, he drops everything. Every single mob obligation, every single favor Sonny Corinthos might ask of him, Jason pushes it all aside because he realizes his son is standing on the edge of a very dangerous cliff. But here is where the leak script absolutely blew my mind, guys. When Jason finally corners Danny to intervene and pull him out of this dangerous underworld mess, he doesn't find a scared kid. He finds a young man who is looking at him with pure, unadulterated admiration. Danny doesn't want to be saved. Danny wants to be exactly like his father. He wants to be Jason Morgan version 2. I am telling you, my jaw physically dropped when I read the dialogue for this upcoming confrontation. Danny firmly believes that the only way to protect the people he loves, like Scout and Charlotte, is to possess the same lethal strength, the same cold toughness, and the same ruthless lifestyle that made Jason a legend in Port Charles. I need you guys to really think about the heavy history here. For decades, we have watched Jason sacrifice his own happiness, his own peace of mind, and even his original identity as Jason Quartermain, all to live this violent life. He knows the horrific price of being a mob enforcer. He has been shot, he has been presumed dead multiple times, and he has lost the women he loved. So when he hears his own flesh and blood say that he wants to inherit this cursed lifestyle, Jason is absolutely horrified. If you ask me, Jason is looking into a mirror and seeing his own worst mistakes staring back at him through his son's eyes. The upcoming episodes are going to feature some of the most emotionally charged scenes we have seen in years. Jason completely loses his cool, which is so rare for our stone cold hitman. He vehemently opposes Danny's ambitions. He tries to lay down the law, explicitly forbidding Danny from walking down this dark, blood-soaked path. Jason desperately tries to convince his son that there is a better future out there, a future filled with light, education, and safety. He wants Danny to choose a life that doesn't involve looking over his shoulder every single second of the day. But Danny is not having it. You have to remember, ladies, Danny has the stubbornness of both Jason and Sam pulsing through his veins. According to the leak breakdown, Danny flat out refuses to listen to reason. In fact, the argument escalates to a terrifying climax where Danny issues a devastating ultimatum. He looks Jason dead in the eye and threatens to pack his bags, leave Port Charles entirely, and go out into the world to prove his toughness on his own if Jason continues to stand in his way. Danny is basically saying, if you won't teach me how to be you, I will figure it out myself on the streets. I can barely handle the anxiety just thinking about it. Jason is suddenly backed into the most impossible corner of his entire life. He knows that if Danny runs away, the boy will be eaten alive by the criminal underworld, or worse, he will end up crossing paths with someone like Jen Sidwell without any protection. The fear of losing his son forever forces Jason to make a shocking, controversial decision that is going to have the whole soap opera community buzzing. Instead of continuing to forbid Danny from learning the ropes, Jason completely changes his approach. He realizes that prohibition is only pushing Danny further away. So, what does he do? He agrees to train him. Yes, you heard me right, ladies. Jason Morgan is going to take Danny under his wing and directly mentor him. But before you panic and think Jason is going to hand his teenager a loaded weapon and send him to guard Sonny's warehouses, you need to hear the brilliant twist the writers have cooked up for this Sweeps Week storyline. Jason's training is not about violence. It is not about how to throw a punch, how to shoot a target, or how to intimidate an enemy. Jason is going to teach Danny the hardest lesson of all, the power of the mind. Jason knows that what kept him alive all these years wasn't just his aim, it was his legendary ability to remain absolutely calm in the face of sheer chaos. He is going to train Danny to control his volatile emotions, to read a dangerous situation with crystal clarity, and to make smart, calculated decisions before ever resorting to physical force. I absolutely love this direction, guys. Jason is essentially telling Danny, you want to be strong? Real strength isn't about breaking someone's jaw. Real strength is having the power to destroy someone and choosing to walk away because it is the smarter move. Jason is trying to rewire Danny's entire understanding of what it means to be a protector. He wants Danny to learn how to de-escalate, how to outsmart his opponents, and how to maintain a freezing cold composure when everyone else in the room is losing their minds. This hidden curriculum is going to open up an entirely new, deeply emotional chapter in their father-son relationship. We are going to see these intense, private training sessions between them. Jason will be pushing Danny to his psychological limits, testing his patience, and forcing him to confront his own anger and impulsivity. It is going to be incredibly moving to watch Jason try to save his son's soul by giving him the tools to survive the darkness without actually becoming the darkness itself. But of course, this is General Hospital, and no secret stays hidden forever. This brings us to the massive climax that my insider leak hinted at. While Jason and Danny are secretly bonding over these psychological training sessions, they are operating entirely under the radar. But someone is going to find out. The leaked script suggests a major piece of evidence, perhaps a journal, a recorded conversation, or someone walking in on an intense training moment is going to be exposed. Imagine what will happen when the rest of the family discovers what Jason is doing. What happens when the people who love Danny realize that Jason is actively mentoring him in the ways of the stone cold mindset? They aren't going to understand the nuance. They are going to think Jason is grooming his son for the mob. The fallout is going to be absolutely catastrophic, and I can already see the custody threats and the screaming matches echoing through the halls of the Quartermain mansion. This is the kind of deep, character-driven drama that keeps us glued to our screens, ladies. Jason is walking a terrifying tightrope, risking the wrath of everyone in Port Charles just to keep his son from making a fatal mistake. He is sacrificing his own reputation as a father to give Danny the psychological armor he desperately needs. It is a brilliant, heartbreaking strategy, but it is a ticking time bomb. So, I have to ask you, my fabulous viewers, do you think Jason is making the right call by secretly training Danny to control his emotions? Or is he just paving the way for his son to inevitably join Sonny's cartel? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, because I know this is going to start a massive debate